Hey everyone, it's Ivan with kitbadger.com out here for another review, and today talking cans. This guy right here, which is the Surefire SOCOM556 RC3. So what is it? Broad strokes, it is Surefire's most recent suppressor. They made part of their SOCOM series, this one 556, made for 556, and it is the RC3. This one happens to be low back pressure, as you can see, or maybe not see, but looking at the front of it, and there's some pretty cool stuff going on with it. In the world of suppressors, there has been a push towards lower back pressure, twofold. On the one hand, whether you're shooting suppressed or unsuppressed, but especially suppressed, a bunch of nasty stuff comes out the ejection port. And pretty much everywhere back here, and it's not totally sealed, like everywhere back here. Whether it's from your forward assist, charging handle, even through the upper and lower receiver, gas still comes back. But when you put a can on the end of the can, or can on the end of the can, can on the end of the can, a lot more of that stuff comes back. And it increases lead levels in your blood, like all kinds of things that can have downstream like negative consequences. So how do we eliminate that? Also, with high back pressure, you can just beat the gun to death. Basically, the gun was originally designed without a can, and so with that in mind, you start affecting dwell time, all this other stuff starts running too fast, can like outrun the magazine, like all kinds of problems can come with that. And it can just be really, really hard on the gun. So then people start chasing different stuff as far as like, well, maybe an adjustable gas block, maybe a heavier buffer to help slow the bolt carrier speed, all of these other things, or depending, maybe just a lower back pressure can. And so Surefire came out with their low back pressure can, this being the RC3. I will say, I think it's pretty cool the way they went about it also. I actually ended up going to the launch event for this thing. It was held in Ridgeline. It's pretty cool. They went over some of the stuff to include how they came up with it. And so they went to the national lab and said, hey, use your supercomputers and like map this stuff, essentially like map the gases for us with all of these different geometries in there. And this is what they ended up landing on. And so using like crazy huge supercomputers at the national lab, they figured out, hey, fluid dynamics, how can we basically slow the gases down? Because we do want this to be a suppressor. And at the same time, just give us the best possible thing while letting the gases move through. So we still have a low back pressure and try and get all the things, which really, you can only get some of them, but I think they got a lot. And when I say you can't get all of them and they got a lot, what am I referring to? Suppressors. So they can be quiet, they can be inexpensive, they can be lightweight, they can have really good flash signature, they can be really durable. They cannot be all of those things. They can't. And so what was Surefire going for? One, they have and continue to be probably the most durable thing out there, which is good because they end up going to Marines and they try and break them. But super durable, really good on flash, and sounds really good too, to my ear. Are there quieter things out there? Probably. But it's also a low back pressure can. And with respect to low back pressure, the number they put out is 60% lower back pressure. What is that in reference to? Honestly, I have no idea. My guess would be the RC2, which was their predecessor to this, which is not a low back pressure can. And I can tell you, shooting them side by side, significantly less back pressure shooting this compared to that RC2. Maybe 60%. I have no idea as far as a percentage, but I'm guessing that's where it came from. So with that in mind, this thing was made to be a lower back pressure. So on the one hand, which is really nice, you can pretty much put it on any gun. For example, this is the host gun I've largely been shooting this on. And this is a BCM 16-inch mid-length gas system, has their new Raider M13 rail on here. all the awesome BCM stuff, full auto bolt carrier group, all that stuff, but definitely not adjustable, not made for like tuning for your can, but at the same time shoots really well on here. Also, something worth mentioning, this was not just magically made in a vacuum. They weren't like, oh, let's just make a can, like period from scratch. Obviously, there were some things they were working around. So one of which is muzzle device. So this is their fast attach method, only works with Surefire muzzle devices. Keep in mind, how did they design it? Because they make a number of different muzzle devices. This right here on this BCM is the Surefire War Comp. And so they also make Surefire flash hider, open tine. They also make Surefire closed tine flash hider. And they also make, I think they might make a closed tine War Comp also. And then they also make a muzzle brake, which if you want a muzzle brake to tame recoil, that is it. If you want something for flash, open tine flash hider, that is it. This right here is honestly a straight up compromise. And like, I don't hate it. I have no use for it in my life. I don't. If I want something for recoil, muzzle brake works amazing. If I want something for flash, the flash hider. And if I want the best of both worlds, you can't. Like, pick one or the other. I will say this is a decent compromise, but if flash is really important, the answer is a flash hider. So with that in mind, this was actually built around the open tine flash hider to get the best results you can with this. And I will say, most of the shooting I've done has been on this gun, and not a fan of the War Comp as a muzzle device for suppressors. In part because all those holes you saw right there, it's usually just a mating surface on pretty much any of their other cans. And so you get a bunch of crap coming out the back here that you otherwise generally don't get. And that also, one of the things it'll do is carbon lock the can on there, which it happens. And so what you do is you break that collar loose and then you shoot the can off, which I absolutely did after shooting this on a gun for 3 days straight. I think it was the Urban Precision Rifle course. Ended up shooting it off the gun. But I say that because, again, depending on factors that are important, if flash is a big thing for you, the muzzle device you want on your gun is going to be the open tine flash hider. Which I guess brings me to, how have I used it and how is it done for me? Well, I have put a lot of rounds through this, and frankly, it's done a really good job for me. I've shot it in a number of different courses. Most recently, a friend of mine actually shot it. This gun right here, a friend Jenny from Finland was out visiting, and we ended up down at Thunder Ranch for their mid-range rifle class. While I was shooting my AI in 308, she was actually shooting this in 556. And I made sure she was shooting this because she was shooting next to me on the line. Did not want something unsuppressed next to me, and sounded great. She did an amazing job shooting it. Like, this is actually an incredible gun. She was with 556, making hits consistently out 700-900 yards. Pretty cool. And yeah, this thing absolutely performed. Past that, or before that, I guess rather, I actually shot this setup right here down at Thunder Ranch again. This time it was at a Urban Precision Rifle class. Basically think kind of low probability shots, anywhere from like 5 to 100 yards. Most of the shooting was done, but again, low probability. Again, did great. To include, we were doing some stuff inside of buildings, like shooting loopholes. You definitely knew the guns that were not suppressed, or honestly were just kind of suboptimal suppressors. And yeah, this thing did great there as well. Been really pleased with it across the board. Also, as part of kind of ongoing series I've done on flash mitigation, I went out and did some shooting with it, just trying to kind of see how it did in that low kind of twilight. I think the shooting I did was about, like, roughly about 25 minutes or so after sunset. And that's one of those hard ones where it's like, you want to shoot when it's dark, but not too dark to where the camera won't find focus, and then it's all grainy and blurry anyway. So here's what I got. Shot through a number of different loads, managed to shoot it in 60 frames a second so I could slow it down. You can kind of see what's happening. Largely just a little like pencil of fire coming out the end, which that's pretty consistent to include with their RC2. And I honestly been really happy with it. Other places I've shot this, actually, my oldest son and I, we were down doing some predator hunting, had a thermal in line on this gun right here, and I was just standing, I don't know, like 4 or 5 yards off to the side of him, and he was taking a couple shots at a predator. Totally pitch black, like I couldn't see anything. He has the thermal, and yeah, one, sounded pretty good. I would not want to shoot unsuppressed, or sorry, suppressed but without ear pro all day or anything like that. Very few guns I would, like subsonic suppressed 22 maybe, but actually sounded pretty good. And also, yeah, just pitch black looking from the side. I was pretty impressed with how little was visible actually to that naked eye. So yeah, been pleased with it. So who do I think this is good for? I think it really depends. Keep in mind when you're talking about those different attributes of a can as far as like, hey, flash mitigation, weight, sound, durability, all these things. This is barely, I don't know. I would almost consider this not a consumer product. What do I mean by that? This is way overbuilt for most people's needs. A lot of people are like, hey, is that full auto rated? Like, well, I mean, technically you could destroy any can if you shoot enough through it, especially at a high enough rate of fire. This is definitely full auto rated, like inconel, super durable. And yeah, like it is very, very durable. You can take this thing off, use it as a hammer. I'm sure Marines somewhere have. It's overbuilt for most people's application. With that, it's definitely not light. This thing is, I think, like 17 ounces. As far as on the gun, well, one, any amount of weight at the tippity tip of your gun is going to feel like a lot. As far as dimensions, by the way, I think roughly around 6 inches, but on a gun with like your muzzle device, you're looking at basically adding about 4 inches. So this goes from like a 16-inch gun to a handling a 20-inch gun. But yeah, not lightweight. And part of it is like this method of locking up. And like I said, this thing is just super rugged and overbuilt. How does it do with sound and flash? I think it does really good with flash. I think it does pretty good with sound too. 556 inherently large, it's just loud. Like it's snappy kind of no matter what. I will say some cans definitely sound better than other ones. This one definitely sounds pretty good. And like I said, flash, definitely good. Something else, again, depending on your gun and setup, because everything is different, so many variables. This being low back pressure is nice because I can take this just stock, basically one of their like 16-inch RECCE carbines, BCM, throw it on here and it works great. It's not beating the gun to death or anything like that. It functions great, which again, depending on your setup, is definitely a good thing. As I mentioned, not the lightest thing, but it is incredibly durable. And depending on what you want, as far as like, hey, I'm gonna buy one can, it's gonna be on my gun and for the rest of my life, whether the end of the world comes tomorrow or not, like whatever, I want that one can that will always be there and be functional. There you go. Here it is. You will pay for it in weight. Also in price. Not cheap between 3D printing, all that inconel, and yeah, not cheap. I think probably a little over $1,500, something like that. But depending, if it is something you're looking for, there'll be links down below and you can go check it out. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadge.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.